my question for you is, do you think the recent Super Bowl game with how it ended, do you think it was decided on a ref's call or not? And is that a big issue? And whether or not refs could be deciding the fate of such a Super Bowl. And let's talk about some of the money that was involved with the Super Bowl with bets and gambling. It's on an all-time high. Is that good or not? So let's have you be the deciding factor on whether or not this is something that should have happened with this call. Right there. So, I mean, it looks like he grabbed the jersey and James Bradbury right there on the defense said it was a holding. He tugged his jersey and he's hoping they would let it slide. Now, my reaction to that is that kudos to James Bradbury for responding what I think is the right way, appropriately, taking responsibility. He didn't have to do that. And I think that a lot of people are saying, I heard this as a recommendation, should there be a board that is deciding on whether or not they should overturn calls like this? But it takes a lot out of the game of different sports, of football, soccer. I know that one example is with the World Cup, they had a device in the center of the ball, and it showed where the ball's position was within like a few millimeters on the field. And within a few hundredths of a second, they can tell where every player is and where the ball is, whether or not it crosses the threshold for the goal. And, if you know without a shadow of a doubt that the call is going to be clear and that, the right winner is going to come out on top, sometimes that's fun in other aspects of life, if you know for sure that, like, financially or like with, health situations, you want to know you're getting the right feedback and the right answers for specific things. But, when it comes to sports, part of the benefit of the sports is the ambiguity, of, having to have a real person, flesh and blood person on the field making judgment calls. And then whether you agree or disagree with those calls, that's kind of up to you. But isn't it kind of part of the fun, having to sort of kind of root for your team? And sometimes the black and white team out there, the refs are the bad guys and are treated as such. And I don't think that anyone should be fired over this, but I think a lot of people had a lot of angst over it, mainly because of all the sports betting and stuff. And I mean, for some people, they say it's more fun. And answer this for me. Do you think it's more fun to have people betting on sports versus just watching it and enjoying it on? Me personally, my wife and I had a little wager that if the Eagles won, that she would do the dishes for the week, and if the Chiefs won, then I would do the dishes a week. So here I am all week doing dishes, and that's just good fun right there, But if you're betting the farm, if you're betting a whole bunch of money, whether you have it or not, I mean, so many people are in debt these days, and savings rates are kind of wibbly wobbly, and if you have an outsized wager that's going to negatively impact your life if you lose it, well, that's not fun. That's just painful. So all that to say, I think that the Super Bowl, it could have been decided on a ref's call. The player himself weighed in. And I think for the integrity of the game, really kind of showed that he believed that it was a good call and it was the right thing to have happen. So that's good, and I like that he said that. Now, I'd love to talk about some of my favorite aspects of the game, and the point right here is Chris Stapleton, and just check out some of his performance here for the national anthem.
Was so proudly hailed at the twilight stride and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we walked were so gallantly stood, and the rockets regular upon bird singing out, yeah.
And so I wanted to stop it there, not because I didn't want to watch the whole thing. It's amazing, and I think he did such a good job, but the emotion on so many of the players' faces, and how, I mean, there's a lot wrapped up in it. You know, you're going and you're there on the field. This is a huge deal for you, and you know, I'm sure there's like so many different layers there. With people, everyone brings their own personal story, everyone brings their own history to experiences like that. But man, he did such a phenomenal job. He's just such a natural born performer, entertainer, musician. My background's in music, and I love, you know, getting together and making music with people, but to be able to stand alone and to carry the national anthem that way is just phenomenal. And, you know, I loved everything they did leading up to it. I think a lot of people found a lot of things to be controversial and try to, you know, stir up some drama over, you know, over the ceremony leading up to the national anthem. Whether or not we need multiple national anthems in this country, I don't think anyone's necessarily trying to push for that. But I think that, you know, it was an awe-inspiring moment. All the performances throughout the whole thing. I thought Rihanna was great. I think Chris Stapleton was great, and it's just someone who's, you know, is just, my first love is music, and so I thought it would be good for me to kind of throw my 2 cents in there, and just to kind of share a story about my son, who, you know, he's 2, and he's sitting on the ground there, and we're watching the whole Super Bowl, and this is got to be like the first time he even could say the word Super Bowl, and he's sitting there looking up at Chris Stapleton performing, and it was the first time for 2 full minutes, I think, all day, that he was just silent, and he was just sitting there and just hands in his lap and just staring up at the screen, and just you know, it was an awe-inspiring performance. And I think it resonates with so many different types of people, you know, young, old, you know, people all over the world were able to see this as a powerful moment. And so I think that's a wonderful thing. I think of all the moments that I'll probably remember, you know, a few years from now. I'm probably not going to remember maybe even who won, but I bet I will remember that performance. And so it's just worth kind of memorializing that way. And so I always look forward to the ads. I always look forward to some quality Super Bowl commercials. I don't think we got the same quality. Every year I seem to be less and less impressed with the Super Bowl commercials and the different ads. And so maybe this is something where this year, you know, they had some highs and lows. I know that there was a lot of people that wanted to, you know, pick fights about certain things, and everyone's got their own opinions. But my opinion is that this one right here was the best. And so
I'll always take care of you.
I wanna hold you forever.
Hey, little bear bear.
I wanna love you forever.
Let's not do that again, okay?
Don't worry, darling, about the rest of our life. Through thick and thin, I'll be there by your side. 'Cause when I see those big, beautiful eyes looking into mine, I wanna hold you forever.
To have Anthem from this day forward.
You forever.
Come on, Bear.
Yes, I do.
Hey there.
I'll be there. You don't have to worry. Be by your side. Your comfort.
I mean, wow, that was powerful. I'm misting up just even watching that right there. It was a powerful, powerful ad, And I mean, it's like obviously they're selling like premium dog food, and I've got 2 dogs, and we have a pig as well that is a pet pig named Hamlet, and man, just sign me up. I'm over here. I'm like, want to, because it speaks to one of my core values, and that's just the value of time and time spent with loved ones, and whether it's your kids, your fur babies, the whole thing. And it was a powerful ad. I mean, it just 5 stars. And so I think that's one thing that I shared all these through Twitter. You may have seen that. And so if you're someone who wants to see some of these ads, then check it out, and go ahead and follow me on Twitter. You can find me at Daniel Bradley X. Daniel Bradley's taken everywhere, too common of a name, so I'm Daniel Bradley X anywhere. And you can follow some of these things, as well as some other ways that I like to share some of the tips and tricks I have for helping your family save money, make more money, and build lasting wealth for this generation and the next.